As your software projects grow, keeping all of your variables, classes, and loops inside one giant JavaScript file becomes completely unmanageable. To build a professional application, you must separate your code into small, isolated files called modules. In this demo, we'll look at CommonJS modules, which is the traditional module standard built directly into Node.js. It operates on a strict lock and key system to pass data between files. By default, everything you write inside a JavaScript file is completely hidden from the rest of your app. If you want another file to use a variable or a function, you must explicitly attach it to an export object at the bottom of the file. When you need something to be imported, you use the built-in require function to specify the location where it is defined. Let's take a look at a short example that will show you the correct syntax for importing and exporting with CommonJS modules. I have a file called main.js. It is exactly what it sounds like. It is the main file where I plan to build my program and execute code. But I have another file that holds some values that I need to export so that I can import them over in my main file. So let's start with exporting. We have both of these constants here. I need to create an export object and bundle together all of the assets that I want to export. I will start with module.exports. I'll store an object and add each of the constants using the same name for the key as I used for the value. Now there's a shorthand in JavaScript where if the key and the value are the same, you can eliminate having to specify them together and just name them once. And behind the scenes, it still means the same thing. So this is the simplest way to do it. And now I've made these available so that they can be imported in other files in my application. So now we switch over to main, where I need to import these files. Because they're exported in a single object, I can start with a constant, call it data bundle, and use the require function, then specify the relative path from my current location. Because these two files are in the same location, I can use dot and slash to represent that. And then I just access game data.js. So again, data bundle represents an object. Therefore, when I want to access starting health value or default weapon name, I need to use dot notation to access those keys. So here, where we say default player health, instead of null, I will insert data bundle dot starting health value. And for the weapon, I'll say data bundle dot default weapon name. So let's go ahead and run this. And we see our output, including the value 100 for the default player health and wooden training sword for the starter weapon designated. We've successfully imported our data from the other file using the correct syntax for exporting and importing with CommonJS modules. And that's all there is to it. In the future, I will introduce another option for syntax called destructuring, but for now, I'm going to stick with what you already know about objects and how you can access their keys using dot notation. I have a practice exercise here. You have app.js where you need to import some things from settings.js. So this will be a very similar process to what I just demonstrated, and it'll give you a little bit of practice with setting those export objects and import statements. That's all for this one. I'll see you in the next one.